Morning. Morning. Oh, nice. Rick Matashak's my name. My company's called MGI, and we're going to have a little bit of fun exploring personality in this 1 hour session. Anybody have one? Nice. Got one, two. I am curious, who do we have in the room? Do we have salespeople? Service? Admin? Oh, cool. What am I missing? Okay, how many of them do I have? Okay, parts, good.
Detail. And auto body. Detail.
Auto body detail? Nice. All by yourself? We've got a few of those. So you've got quite an eclectic group. Let me ask you this question, because maybe this will be a short session. Is there a need to know how to work better with people in the work you do? Value added, if you can sort of put that together. Has anybody ever taken a personality program in the past? What have you had? Myers-Briggs, very popular one. I'm an ESTJ if you want to know me now. Anybody taking DISC, 2 colors? There's a lot out there. They bring out a new one about every month. And they create animals, and they create birds, and they create no end of things. And it's always fun. It's always insightful. I tend to call them typology models. In other words, whenever I sort of try to explore what's out there, what I find is I'm never satisfied with what I've read, because I always figure I'm bigger than that. That there's more to me than what the typology model is. I'm green or I'm blue, whatever that might be. But what does that really mean in the greater scope of my capabilities? So the model that I'm going to share with you is actually a model of our own design. I've been doing team building for 34 years. And our style is experiential, which you're going to see in the next 2 sessions that we do. And my suggestion to you is there is a genetic piece to who we are. Would you agree? How many people in the room have children? Oh, wow, what a prolific bunch. Anybody have children different from one another? And do you see it pretty quick? Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Same home, same parents more times than not, and yet you see that difference right off the chute. And this is sort of when you talk about the nature versus nurture, I think we believe there's a nature piece, because that's what we'll see in our young kids, but we also agree there's an environmental piece, the nurture part, where the environment you grow up in also feeds into your personality. And that's where it becomes a bit more dynamic, because there's lots of different environments in this room. My interest is to have you explore your genetic base. Let me show you how that's going to work. I need you to free up your hands for a quick second. I need you to put your hands over your head. I need you to go. Ah, nice. I need you to bring your hands together. Bring your hands down. Notice which thumb you have on top. Memorize that thumb. Anybody over 45 share it with a friend. You're going to forget. Sure as heck. All right, one more time. Hands by your side. Hands over your head again. Bring them together. Bring them down. Anybody have a different thumb on top the second time? Nice. Last time through. Hands by your side. Hands behind your back. Hands over your head. Cross your fingers the other way so your other thumb is on top. Didn't work. How's that feel? Awkward? Not as natural? Go back the other way? That's what we're going to play with today. Because what I want to suggest to you is we have a natural genetic way to connect. And what's interesting is we talked about how children can be different, and you see it early as parents. Does anybody have a brother or sister that's different than yourself? Anybody have a mom and a dad that are kind of weird? Anybody have a spouse that was pretty dynamite in the honeymoon phase, but there's been a lot of work since trying to reframe the concept? Double hand. You got them trained. Because what's really interesting in relationships, and by the way, we've got a divorce rate of 60%, so I don't think we all get it right off the bat. But what's interesting, how many people think they married the same as themselves? Did ya? Nice. Yeah, there you go. But everybody else kept their hand down. Would you agree that we marry different? We're attracted to that different strength? So we're going to show you a little bit about that too. Any hockey fans in the crowd? Got a few of them? Cool. Yeah, we're just back from Pittsburgh. We worked with Sid the Kid and the Pittsburgh Penguins here a couple of weeks ago, getting them ready for the season. So I'll give you a few hockey stories too as we walk through this. So what I want to do is suggest to you that we have, genetically speaking, 3 pairings of strengths. Thoughtful, engaging, pragmatic, explorative, relational, and self-reliant. What I'd like to suggest is you can be all 6. And in fact, I want to suggest it's really healthy to have all 6 of these strengths cooking, But in each pairing, I'm going to challenge you to try to determine what that home base is, what that natural part of my being is. How many people think that you've got to come to work and behave a little differently than you might behave at work, at home, pardon me? Sure, a few people do that too, absolutely. And that's the notion of, the word we're going to bring out is flexing. So you have a home base. We tend to be home base at home if you have a healthy home relationship. But you go to work, a lot of people flex. You've got to shift to the other side to be successful with clients, whatever the case may be, working with your colleagues. So that's sort of the dance we're going to play with. Thoughtful, engaging is the first pairing. When you think of somebody who's thoughtful by nature, what kind of words might jump out at you? What might be some of the characteristics, the tendencies of a thoughtful person? Sorry? Caring. Yeah, I can show up there.
Wise.
Generous, possibly, yes? Wise. Yeah, well, actually, these guys are wise too. It just looks different. The thoughtful strike person, people like to plan. Before you do? Engaging? Tend to plan while they do. A thoughtful strength person, when do you like to speak in a group setting like this? Exactly. Thoughtful tend not to be comfortable speaking in large settings, and more importantly, they tend to wait until they've clarified their thoughts before they want to bring ideas forward. A lot of thoughtful say, I don't want to say something stupid, I don't want to say something wrong, I want to think it out. When does an engaging strength person think? Out loud, you nailed it. Out loud, process of doing and thinking goes simultaneously. So who do you think talks first in a staff meeting? Absolutely. Unless the thoughtfuls come prepared, or there's great comfort in the group, then you may hear it a little bit earlier. But generally, we are what we've come to call thoughtful, have a quiet voice. And in working through a high range of people that we work with, what I've come to experience is if you don't do it well, you can lose this voice. Because thoughtfuls will tell me, Rick, I got things to say, but if I can't get my words out, in terms of there's so much commotion happening in the room, then I'll just go quiet. I know what I know. I don't always have to say what I know to everybody else. And you can lose that voice. Engaging, you pretty well always know what they're thinking, because they tend to have that dynamic, charismatic way to present themselves. Starting to get a sense of where you think you might fit as I give you those examples. Thoughtful are often seen as stable. Tend to sort of have a nice even keel to them. Engaging, and it's not unstable. Tend to be a little more dynamic, a little bit louder. I'll show you how that loudness works. It's kind of a fun one. Who do you think has the most feelings, thoughtful or engaging? Why do you say thoughtful? Okay, and you say engaging? You guys? They're out there? You know what? The pot of feelings, I'm going to suggest to use the same. There's my engaging, there's my thoughtful, but as you suggested, how they present their ideas looks something like this. I'm going to give that a 1 to 10. Thoughtful, on the other hand, also 1 to 10. The amount of feelings is the same. How they express it is what differs. What do you think I am, engaging or thoughtful? Aw. God, I wish my wife was here. No, I'm engaging. But a lot of people see me thoughtful in workshops. That's interesting. My good wife, Pat, is thoughtful. And this is the opposite attract phenomenon. I'm not sure how many people might have that in your relationship, but this is a great attraction. And where this gets to be quite fun is I tend to be away from home. Right now, when I get home on Wednesday, I will have been away for 9 days. And particularly when kids were younger, my wife always had something to tell me when I got home. And she was so darn excited, she'd often tell it to me at sort of her 7 range of emotional expression. Where does her 7 hit me? Pardon me, here's her 7. Yeah, her 7 hits my 3. Not quite enough to put the newspaper down yet. Anybody ever have that experience? Trying to have a conversation, but the newspaper still stays. I mean, I'm gifted. I can watch TV, read the newspaper, and listen to my wife. But she hasn't bought into that gift yet. So obviously, her enthusiasm doesn't really hit me in a big way because my range is so much higher. Now, on the other hand, I've been away for a while. We've had a great workshop. I'm kind of pumped. I want to come in and tell Pat what a great time I had, the people I met, the things we did, the learnings that came out of it. It was the most brilliant time. I did it on Lethbridge. Can you believe that? What does that do to a thoughtful when you hit him that hard? Leave the room. Yeah. Too much, too loud, too fast, too hard. Yeah, creates discomfort too. And yet, many times, I'm just expressing myself in my comfortable range. There's a girl I've worked with for about 6 years, and one of the biggest things we were challenged around is her allowing me to have a 9 when I'm pumped about something, because she's thoughtful. And she always tells me I'm screaming at her. What do you mean I'm screaming at you? I'm just talking my 9. That's no screaming. I can do that all day long. I've talked to people that are thoughtful that married into an engaging family. And I say, so what are like family dinners like? And then their eyes go about this big. And they say, you don't want to know. And I said, did you get your word? Did you get your voice out there? No. Too much energy happening all the way out there. So again, it's an interesting dynamic that's out there. When you think about customers, clients, have you experienced anything like this with your customers or your clients? The quieter, thoughtful nature, engaging. When I buy a car, no idea what I want to buy, but I want to get it done in about 10 minutes. Ain't got a lot of time. Then after I buy it, I'll let you know if I want to keep it. Because usually when I go home, then I'll think about it, and then I'll go, bad decision. Just kidding about that one. Let's look at another one. Experience those guys? Yeah, absolutely. Where you're thoughtful, you're going to come loaded to the 9s. And they absolutely want to, in fact, we even have clarity in all the dynamics and gizmos that they want to have. So different approaches, different styles to how we approach a purchase. Comes out of these strengths. All right, what else can I tell you about that first pairing? Anything you say to me as you think about yourself, you think about that first pairing. Okay. Let me have you make a stand. Those that are thoughtful by nature, I'm going to ask you to rise and grab a chair in this half of the room. Those that are engaging, grab a chair on this side of the room. And if we've got to drag some thoughtful chairs over or engaging, just sort of do it so have a straight line. You sort of have it played out. If you're not too sure, I'm going to give you a qualifier here in a second. If you're not too sure, I'll give you a qualifier. Okay, engaging. I'm going to get you to come this way. Come over here. Come over here. Oh, nice. Nice. I'll give you a qualifier, and then you can decide that in a second. Are these engaging or thoughtful coming over here? Engaging? Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Feel free to grab a chair, thoughtfuls that don't have one to sit on. We've got lots over here. See? Let me just get the first 2 rows just to shift, if you would. Just so the thoughtfuls can grab a chair. Yeah, just shift a little bit. If you want to go to the other side after, give you my qualifier, you can. Lovely. All right, here we got a chair that wants one.
These are engaging people.
This is the time where you get to see somebody and point at them. And sometimes we'll see people say, you don't belong over there, get over to this side. But you know what? Maybe they're flexing at work. And maybe that's the side of them that we see, not necessarily that genetic core. So it's a good conversation to have sometimes. Welcome back. Got a feel for it? Okay, here's my qualifiers. What I'd like to suggest to you is if you happen to be nicely balanced, in other words, you're sort of really close to the middle between a pairing, you can actually be sitting saying, I'm not too sure that's where I belong. Because would you agree that different situations will bring out different sides of our personality? I'm engaging, big time. We just did a 10-day kayak trip a few years back into Glacier Bay in Alaska. Not a kind of trip you don't want to be thinking about. You got 10 days worth of food, rations, and water, and if you blow anything, you're going to go hungry and dry. So big planning comes into here, but getting us there certainly came from here. In fact, where we were, I had my buddy and his wife and a couple of kids, and I had my couple of kids and my wife. And the 7th day, after battling black flies to the extreme that I've ever experienced, the only way you could eat is putting a netting over your head and put the food inside your netting and eat like this. So, and the 2 girls, every time they passed each other, they'd stop and hug. We just thought they liked each other. Later, they told us that was emotional support. It's the only way they got through the 10 days. But after the 7th day, and both of these ladies are thoughtful, they sort of said to me, how did you ever pick this place anyways? And me and my buddy get together once a month, plan our kayak trips, at Earl's restaurant. A pretty girl walked by. Mine went nice. My friend thought it said ice. There we are in Glacier Bay. Yeah, you guys laugh. We got no laughter on the ladies. Anyways, you got the feel. Now, if you're a little bit more out here, then you're pretty clear where you belong. And if you get to the extreme, I'm going to suggest that's a dysfunctional state. To be able, what do you think an extreme thoughtful might look like? They haven't even gotten here. Absolutely. Should they come? Shouldn't they come? Should they come? Shouldn't they come? Procrastinators. Well, it's a thought, more thought, but no action. Engaging. What does extreme engaging look like? Just for those watching you. Do act, do act, do act, do. Lots of impulsiveness, lots of just go, 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 go. May or may not have any thought to whatever it is that you might be doing. A lot of people that you hear about are millionaires and bankrupt 4 times over. They tend to have the engaging strength lead. Take it too far, they don't build a foundation behind it, and next thing you know, you lose it, but they're willing to go up and track it again. So that's sort of how that looks. For those that are nicely balanced, here's the qualifier. Thoughtful, picture this. You walk through that door as you've done this morning, you don't know a single soul in this room. I know you're going to have to pretend that. What's going to be your reaction walking into a room where you know nobody?
Walk back in.
You notice they answered your question before you did? Thanks for doing that. I always wait for somebody to do that. So I missed what you said. I was waiting for him.
Just wait for somebody to talk to me.
Okay. So you'll sort of sit back a little bit, size up the room, work the back wall, get a feel. People say find the bar quick. It's called liquid courage. But generally, you may warm up to people, but it'll take a little bit of while. And then once you're ready to make contact, usually it'll be a person, whether they come to you, you reach out to them, then you'll start a conversation. Engaging, on the other hand, you walk into the room, you don't know a single soul, what are you going to do? Sit where you want, go meet somebody. Hi, I'm Rick, how do you like me so far? Very good. Nice. How long does it take us to do that? Absolutely. How long can you sit back and do nothing? No. So they're diving in, you guys will work your way into it. However, I've talked to a lot of people in sales that come off of this side of the room. And they say to me, Rick, I got to do that behavior every now and again. I say, well, what do you do to prepare? They say, just that, I prepare. And then I say, how do you feel after a good day of reaching out like that? How do you feel? A little tired? Yeah, it takes a lot of energy, doesn't it? How do we feel from a full day of reaching out? Energized, absolutely. We get pumped. So again, you can do it. That's the notion of flexing, but it takes energy. Doesn't come as natural as comfortable. You figure? You got some things to show? Bring her tomorrow, I'll squeeze her in. Actually, that was funny because I'll ask you this question. Where do you think NHL hockey teams fit? On this side of the strength or this side of the strength? Thoughtful? There you go. The ability to balance is everything. However, 90% of every dressing room we've ever worked in is thoughtful. 90 to 95. These guys are called high maintenance players. And usually they're superstars. Todd Bertuzzi is one example. Way out there. The hockey world speaks to these strengths. Because what does the hockey coach want you to do? Routine. Learn the system, play in the system, don't make mistakes in the system, repeat the system. Engaging. How do we feel about that? Yeah, so not as naturally or as comfortable for us. But certainly, these are called coachable players, is what the coaches will tell us. We spend most of our time talking about these players. So Mulchkin, he probably takes about 80% of the Penguin coaching staff's time. The rest of the team gets 20%. Because he's a superstar, I mean, he's productive, but coach a Russian coming off this side is a real challenge. Ovechkin's another example. So you start to see this dynamic played out for those of us that watch it on TV every now and then. Crosby, on the other hand, big time. Mark Messier, what do you think he'd be? Yeah, amazing, eh? Not. Worked with Mark in 2 teams, and he brought us down to New York after working with his leadership camp. For $11,111, you too can go to Mark Messier's leadership camp. Hang out for 4 days and pretend you're a hockey player at Madison Square Garden. And about 40 people sign up. Crunch those numbers, eh? Not bad a few days' work. But Mark's absolutely here. But I'm watching him in his cartoon, his commercials recently with Rogers. He's really kicked it up. And I think he's had some coaching to just look so strong in that presence. But there's no question he comes off of here. All right, let's go to the next pairing. You got a feel for that one. Pragmatic and explorative. By the way, any time throw questions out to me. I'm more than pleased to have that happen. Think of somebody who's pragmatic or practical by nature, or explorative or theoretical by nature. What do they look like? What are their tendencies? What are some of their qualities?
Curiosity.
Curiosity for who? Pragmatic or explorative?
Explorative.
Yes, you got it. Explorative, the most important word in their life is why. Why? If I'm a leader of a team of people and I'm going to create change, they want to know why we're doing it in the first place before they'll start the journey with you. They want the plan. They want my role in the plan. They want some understanding of why we're doing it from the context of pragmatic behavior. How is this going to make us better? You get a lot of the hows out of here, the whys out of here. This is also the pairing that makes or breaks relationships quicker than the speed of light, and I'll show you why. Pragmatics. Present an idea in a staff meeting. What do you want to see done with that idea? Yeah, I'm giving you an answer. Pragmatics have the gift of clarity. They see ways. You've got a good explorative in that same staff meeting. What are they going to do when they hear your idea? Sure. What about? Link it to here, think about this, pass it over here, now we've got this. That's amazing. What does that do to pragmatic? I just told you how to do it. Why are you wasting my time and messing with my head? But more importantly, what does that do to trust? Does trust matter in a team? That can break trust just like that. But it's just two people with good intentions just being themselves. On the other hand, I got my explorative in that same meeting. What do you want to do? What do you want to see done when you present an idea? What's that? Explorative, if you come off of here, it'll be action. But not so much action. What do explorers look for? Present an idea.
Ideas to help and support.
Absolutely. It's not the answer. They're just casting it out. I had a, we do team building where we spend an afternoon giving people a series of team challenges. And I had a team of 10 people. They were all explorers. And they had this thing they had to do where they had to get something out of the middle of an imaginary acid pit. And they had ropes and 4x4, 10-foot pieces of wood, all these other apparatuses they could use to get the job done. They thought that they would stretch out the ropes, everybody hold the rope, have somebody lie on the rope, and they'll take them over the apparatus to save it. But they weren't strong enough. They couldn't hold that person up. Didn't work. So now they're holding the ropes, but not knowing what to do next. There's quite a long pause. And then the CEO of this company goes, I got it. He grabs a 4x4, 10-foot, throws it on the rope, and it lands on top of the rope. So everybody's holding the rope, looking at his wood now. Keep in mind, it's the explorative doing this. And then for like 3 minutes, nobody says anything. And then finally somebody says, so what's your idea? He says, to throw that piece of wood in the rope. But you know what's a killer? They got the job done in 3 minutes. Nobody said what a stupid idea. They just leveraged off it. That gave them a visual, and they got the job done. So that's the power of explorers. Well, cast not really know if it's a solution to anything. But it's an idea. Throw it out there. You're starting to see where you might fit. These guys love results. Love to get things done. What do these guys really enjoy? Process. You got it. They love the journey. They love the journey of working to get things done. A lot of explorers say, you know, when it's finally time to finish it off, I've usually moved on. I love pragmatics in my life. I'll just actually take it to completion. Because the next best idea is around the corner now for me to chase after. They can sometimes struggle closing things off. Anybody have teenagers? Anybody have curfew? What time's your curfew? Yeah, nice. Son or daughter come in at 10:15? No. So you're a little pragmatic, are you? Yeah, pragmatics if it's 10 is 10. In fact, quarter to 10 is a good thing. That demonstrates maturity, commitment to the cause, going for the greater good. Explorers, on the other hand, son or daughter come in a quarter after 10, 10:30, how do we react? Happy they're home. Yeah, 10 is 10-ish for an explorative. Staff meeting at 9. What time do exploratives usually show up? Yeah. What time are pragmatics there at? There you go. We don't ever want to be late. I'm pragmatic. Exploratives-ish. You know, it's that little area around. Don't get your head in a knot. No big deal. I'm here. So again, different approaches. Nuance parameters, not so much. The other piece I'll throw at you, these guys, and this is a big one in sales, these guys play off behavior, these guys play off attitude. Can you wrap your mind around that difference? Behavior versus attitude. How does that look like for somebody coming into your store to buy a car or a truck? These guys?
That's what you should approach it.
They want to, as soon as you can read, they're pragmatic. You want to give them facts. You want to give them details. You want to give them information. And you keep feeding it until they say, I got it. I like what I see, or based on what you told me, this isn't what I was looking for. But that's how you can work a pragmatic. Explorers are looking for attitude. They want you to be positive. They want you to talk abstract things with them. They don't need to talk about the details of a car. In fact, if you start talking details, you can watch their eyes glass over. Not about details for many explorers. They just want the conversation. And the more positive you are in your attitude in working with them, the more they're going to be aligned with you. And then they'll tell you what they want to know. If they're engaging explorative, you don't have to say anything. Just let them talk. Yeah, you're just going to get in the way if you try to say anything. Just let them run it, and they just confirm, paraphrase as they move along. Pragmatics, see what they're saying. Feed pictures. We love pictures. Anything like that really works for the pragmatic. All right, you got a sense where you fit here. Sure. This is nice. So what's the qualifier? I'll move you first and I'll give you the qualifier. And what I'm going to actually, when you think about it before I tell you, it's sometimes good to think, what did I have to learn how to do? Because a lot of people, and I'll give a quick example, and I'm one of these, I came off pragmatic, and I was a deeply pragmatic. When I finally started to understand this, I wanted to get to the explorer to bounce myself off. It scared the crap out of me when I went over there. Because that is not the place that's got clarity. You know, that's the place that's got no end of wow, 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 wow. So then I quickly race back to here, get centered, and then I try it again. And that's really how you do it. You may take a big swing and then a little bit less, and before long it becomes much more natural. That's a good thought. Okay, let's do a split, and I'll give you my qualifier. Thoughtful, I want my pragmatic front half, explorative back half. And Kara's going to give us, by the way, that's Kara back there. She's my co-facilitator that wasn't here at the start. So pragmatic in the front, the explorative in the back, and Kara's going to make sure you got a dividing line, engaging. Pragmatic in the front, explorative in the back. Not for sure that one? What kind of work do you do? Product sales? Okay. Can you see, you can see where you do both? Can you think what you used to be like before you learn how to do the other side? Can you think what you used to be like before you have to learn how to do the other side? You are? Okay. Go to the explorer side. We're going to give you a page in a minute to read. How are we doing? All right, let's get a quick snapshot of how we ended up here. Thoughtful, pragmatic. Just show of hands. Thoughtful, pragmatic. Lots of thoughtful pragmatics. Your exact opposite, engaging, explorative. Okay, stuck in that one a bit. All right, I'll give you that qualifier in a second. Lastly, engaging, pragmatic. Thoughtful, explorative. And just a small smattering again. Isn't that interesting? So this tells me we've got a pretty good, thoughtful, pragmatic culture in terms of who gets attracted to the business. Here's my qualifier. Exploratives in the back. How important are ideas to you? 10. Need them, want them, look for them. Ideas feed our spirit. They really do matter. Pragmatic. How do we feel about ideas? Do you notice how they reacted right away? And we always have this long pause. Because pragmatics like ideas, particularly if they align with our own. And if they support our way of thinking, we gravitate toward them big time. But if it's an idea that's off of left center, how does a pragmatic deal with that? Where's the grounding? You know, what's the basis of understanding? Where for explorative, bring it on. We'll play with it. We'll figure it out by the time we're done. So when it comes to ideas, pragmatics will often judge ideas. Exploratives play with ideas. Can you see that? Now, when I talk the way I am, I'm also giving generality in my conversation. Would you agree the more balanced I am, again, the more it's difficult for me to determine because I can see myself doing both sides. And we support that. We say that's a good thing. I'm still going to challenge you to find that genetic home base. But I definitely want to acknowledge that that balance is creating what you're seeing. All right, you ready for the last one? Relational, self-reliant. What comes to mind when you think of somebody who's relational?
Someone who likes to talk to people, have conversations,
Absolutely.
interact all the time.
Give warmth. As salespeople, they good? Sure they are. Yeah, you feel the warmth if you've got a relational salesperson talking to you versus a self-reliant. I'm not suggesting for a minute self-reliance can't sell. I'm a self-reliant. But we've got to go about it a little different way. Because that oozing of the relational side doesn't come from us naturally unless we've got that nice balance happening. How that gets played out. Relationals, when do you give trust in a relationship? It's yours to lose. Self-reliant, when do we give trust? Got to earn it. Takes time. And if I break trust with you, it ain't pretty. If I break trust with relationals, you can try to work it back because you're committed to it. Has anybody in the room ever had a tough week? Thank God. It's 5 o'clock. What's a relational going to do at 5 o'clock on a Friday after a tough week? Drink. With who? With who? Be social. Call up your buddies. Go have a drink. Self-reliance. We've had a miserable, tough week. What are we going to do? Drink alone. Relational, re-energized with others. Self-reliant, re-energized by themselves. My business partner is my son, and Ryan is exact opposite than I am. Ryan is thoughtful, explorative, relational. I'm engaging, pragmatic, and self-reliant. About 3 years ago, it's a September long weekend. Classic time to call up his best buddies, load the trucks, drive to no man's land, hike in another 40 or 50 miles, and go fly fishing on a very special stream. Because they're all fishing addicts. How do you think Ryan felt coming back after 3 days with his buddies fly fishing? Yeah, totally spirited time of his life. The good wife Pat at that time was a kindergarten teacher. Early September, she had work to do. So I said, fine. I grabbed my single-man kayak, took it to Moline Lake, paddled in 26 kilometers, spent 3 days, came out 3 days later. How did I feel? Best 3 days of my life. And all the relational training people are thinking, loser. This guy's such a loser. I love having meals by myself in a restaurant. My wife is self-reliant. We go to a movie, all we got to pick is the movie house. You don't have to agree on the movie. She'll go to her theater, I'll go to mine, come out after and talk about her movies. Don't have to sit by her. What's the point? Relational, how do you feel about that? Here's the big one. Tell me you guys can remember this. You're on your honeymoon. Let's say you got a good solid week of honeymoon coming up. 3 days. What's the self-reliant looking for?
Party to drink by himself.
Party to drink by himself. That other double bedroom's looking awful good right about now. And I got this book I'm dying to get into. How would a relational feel about that? Follows with, you don't love me. Is this how our relationship's going to be? This can actually be a real killer if you don't see it for what it is, because it comes with expectations. And we can quickly think that people are doing something contrary to our interests to upset us when they're just meeting their own needs, on whatever side that might be. So again, eyes wide open, the ability to see makes the big difference. All right, enough on this one. One more question. Relational strength. We've now got, let's say we have a day of team building here today because all of my sessions are team building related. How do you feel about coming to a team building workshop? Absolutely. Self-reliant? Not so much. Yeah. I know you guys in workshops because your legs are crossed, your arms are crossed, and you give me that make my day asshole look. I don't do touchy-feely, and I don't do that team shit. I don't even know why I'm here. So I avoid you and I find my relationals and make contact with them because they're happy. All right, enough information. How many people came here saying make my day? Oh, what a nice group. Oh, there we go. All right, lovely. Thanks for the honesty. One more flip. Thoughtful, pragmatic, relational in the middle, self-reliant to the outside. Relational in the middle, self-reliant to the outside. Back room, thoughtful, explorative, relation in the middle, self-reliance to the outside. Engaging, pragmatic to the middle, to the outside if you're self-reliant, outside. Engaging, explorative, relational, self-reliant. Okay, in a moment's time, Kara and I are going to come around and give you the page. So the front of the page talks about a bit of a summation of who you might look like with those core strengths. The back of the page talks about what happens when I flex. When I go to the other side, it's about what I gain to go there and how do I go about getting there. So this is the how and the what, and this is about the core base for who you are. So take a minute, read both pages, and then we'll have a conversation after that. Thoughtful, pragmatic, relational. That's it, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 22, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20, 30, 32.
Thank you.
Now your exact opposites, and they're very, very rare for read in this group. 2, engaging, explorative, self-reliant. This is a group you're more than welcome to give a big hug to, but be careful the reaction you're going to get. Thoughtful, pragmatic, self-reliant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 24, 8, 32, 4, 40 people. Your exact opposites, thoughtful, pragmatic, self-reliant, is engaging, explorative, relational. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Anybody work with those guys? Yeah, cool. And then we have engaging, explorative, relational. Engaging, explorative, relational?
Thoughtful.
Thoughtful, I'm so sorry. Thoughtful, engaging, explorative. Thoughtful, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of those. And your exact opposite, and I call this group perfection, by the way. And you can see why when you look at the gentleman and the lady here, but this is also my group, that's why I know it's perfection. 2, 4, 5. You got 5 of us. And this is always interesting. You're always the smallest group in any group we ever work with. I have 1, engaging, pragmatic, relational. Your exact opposites, thoughtful, explorative, self-reliant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
And me.
9. Nice, nice. So what do you think? What do you deem from what you see?
What's the point?
What's the point? Who we butt heads with? Those 2 different comments.
Rick, it's interesting to see reading through each one of these. Sometimes you question,
Okay.
where am I sitting?
Okay.
How am I that?
Okay.
Get your people over here on the other side and how to change.
Okay.
Maybe that is, maybe I'm more.
Good one. And it can be that kind of a journey too, absolutely. Yeah. Is there a place in your business to know self? Is there a place in your business to have a self-awareness? I've gotten into management coaching this year for the first time. I've always avoided it because I never thought I'd like it, but I'm loving it beyond belief. And I'm working with a lot of vice presidents of organizations that don't know self. They don't know the bases they come from. And yet they lead organizations very effectively. But I want to suggest that we tend to lead off who we are. And that becomes the dynamic of play. So why we want to do this, what's the point? Well, part of it's just a journey into self. And then projecting that into relationships. And trying to map a mind around how that can look. My thoughtful, explorative, self-reliant. I'm going to come over to you guys. This is what our research has showed us. Okay, who is my thoughtful, explorative, self-reliant? Lovely, you got one here. Two, even better. How do you guys feel about hugs? Not a hugger. How about this?
What?
Finger rub?
Pull it?
No, just touch it. Okay? You guys follow that? You want to hug these guys? It's called a finger touch. We had to, we were working with a dentist that had built about 28 practices. And he was your strengths. He was thoughtful, explorative, self-reliant. Where do you think you'd find dental hygienists? Absolutely, all over here. So we're doing a team building out in Canmore, and all these girls want is a big hug. That's all they need. Just give me a big hug, boss. Then a hug. Then we taught them the finger touch. You should have seen him at the end of the day. Standing by the door, finger out. All the girls came by, gave him a little rub. They were quasi-happy, and he was just diving on to heaven. Now, you got to be careful how you touch. This is just a tip finger touch. When you go like this, it's called fooling around. They'll get you no end of grief. They're not ready for that relationship at that stage yet. All right, what I'm going to have you do now, and it's going to be a little tricky because you've got such a strong smattering of people on this side, but I would like to have, for every 4 from this side, I'd like you to grab one of these guys and circle up in a group of 5. So 4 from this side. I want as much diversity as we can find. So 4 from this side, capture one of these guys. Or you guys go over there and find 4 people to talk with. And circle up your chairs.
This is what he said, reading this, and then looking at what he's saying there. Allow me to see the word.
I'm Russ. Basically, my strengths are being more of an extrovert, talking, getting out there, and I'm more results driven. So I like to see numbers and stuff up on the scoreboard.
Conviction of thought and you stay strong to your views of challenge. You are comfortable in a leadership role and the support is provided in addition. They demonstrate effective leadership.
I do appreciate, I'm sure not everybody got a chance. This may be the group you want to take to lunch today and have a chinwag over lunch about whatever you're talking about now and finishing it off. Actually, engaging, pragmatic, self-reliant, who do you like to pay? I don't know why, it's a bad habit.
No, we don't.
You don't like to pay? Oh, I stand corrected then. It's only my personal problem. All right. Any thoughts, observations? Do you want to share your point? I think it was a beauty. If you just shared to me.
The question
Just how the people at work see you based on who you are at the core.
Oh, because most people thought I was relational instead of self-reliant, like completely. And wherever Ken is in here, he's a customer of mine, he was kind of shocked that I was self-reliant.
Fantastic. So you got a nice what's happening on your relational side.
Well, I have to admit that.
And how do you go on holidays?
How do I go on holidays? This time by myself.
Both time by yourself. And you told me not even tell people I'm going. And that's what I did to my wife when I went to Moline Lake. That was another mistake. Okay, any other thoughts, questions, observations, leaps of insights, point of brilliance?
I think you can go back and forth between, most people can go back and forth a little bit on some of these, I would suspect.
Would you agree? We can see the flexible nature of our personality. You know, I talked about working with Pittsburgh. I had Crosby in my journey, which is that series of team challenges we spent all afternoon doing. And Crosby put himself as a thoughtful, pragmatic relational. But what I watched before my very eyes for about 3 hours was an unbelievable flex here. Unbelievable flex here. And you know what? Unbelievable flex here. And I saw it played out how he took on the challenges. What do you think that person would look like that has that kind of flexibility? Which makes him a good leader. Malkin's also a leader. Malkin is engaging, explorative, self-reliant, and Malcolm is engaging, explorative, self-reliant. And all the way through his journey, he kept asking how much longer and where's supper. So, interesting what you see sometimes. Mark Crawford, we worked with Vancouver Canucks, and Mark was the coach. At that time in the Canucks, they had 2 engaging, Bertuzzi and Jovanovski. The rest of the team was thoughtful. Mark is engaging, explorative, relational. So when Mark gets in front of a thoughtful team and he presents something, what does he want to see back? Dynamic feedback, perspective, presentation. What does he get back? That team is a killer team to work with because nobody in a group setting will say anything because they want to make it look silly. One-on-one, they're magical. In a group setting, not so much. So the players loved the event so much, they said, you've got to do our wives and spouses. So back about a month later, and we're doing the wives and spouses now. Well, if all my team is thoughtful, what do you think I was looking forward to having with the spouses? Like you wouldn't believe. And Mark comes in about halfway through the afternoon, and the room is vibrating. Like literally the walls and the ceilings and the chandeliers. These women were cooking. And we're doing an activity and they're all over it. And Mark sort of freezes when he walks in. Then he slowly works his way to me at the front of the room. Slowly as he's watching all this. And then he says, can they skate? He'd walked into his dream dressing room. Like that energy would have fed him like you wouldn't believe. And yet he's seen as an intimidating coach because he's engaging, explorative relation. He's passionate. He's outgoing. He's dynamic. So you see how this starts to get played out. It definitely weaves its way into real life when you got the eyes and the lens to look at it through. We've worked with 7 NHL hockey teams, and the reason they keep inviting us back is because they love the session. They love our team building, but I show them their dressing room, and we might do 6-7 hours with the team, and then I'll do 5 to 6 hours with the coaches till way after midnight, debriefing every minuscule of everything they can deem from the experience, because they really want to know it. They really want to understand it, because they know they'll be a better coach if they can. So it truly is a hoot. Any other last thoughts, perspectives, questions?
Maybe you should go see the Hurricanes.
I'll go pretty well anywhere as long as I got an invite.
Tigers are doing pretty good.
Tigers, Medicine Hat Tigers? Yeah, junior hockey. You know, we probably have 6 junior hockey coaches want us, and 6 GMs say we can't afford you. So we've never got into a junior hockey team for that reason. Yeah, funny how that goes sometimes.
I like taking this stuff to heart, that it allows you to take it to heart with other people that you're with in your life. You can be more forgiving for how they are, instead of wanting everybody to be more accommodating to you.
I love that
You
word.
can be more accommodating back.
I love that word. We just came off a 4-day program in Jasper, and I had the CEO of a $400 million revenue company who was engaging, pragmatic, self-reliant. His wife was his exact opposite, thoughtful, explorative, relational, and he belittled her continuously in the first 2 days of the workshop. Little shots, little digs. He's never home. Whenever he goes home, she has a request, and he just thinks that's the stupidest thing. He became a lot quieter by the 3rd day. And by the 4th day, he was actually a different man. Sometimes you just don't see it for what it is. And that seeing helps. And then you got the ability to shift the attitude.
And the other side is the bad side. It's just
What I get a kick out of is when people get divorced. Who do they marry the next go-around? Can you believe that? Same strength show up the second time go-around. We're attracted. If you're engaging, explorative, self-reliant, 99% of you people marry thoughtful, pragmatic, relational. It is the most predictable because it's a soothing, dynamic, charismatic feature, and they last. They last. But I got a buddy who's a lawyer that's thoughtful, pragmatic, relational. He knows his stuff as well as I do. He says, Rick, it drives me crazy. I go to a party, And I feel the energies grow when I hear an engaging explorer of self-reliance start to talk, and I'm drawn toward him. I can't help myself. I just want to go and hear him. And after a while, you start to see how we do get driven to people we like. I married a thoughtful, pragmatic, self-reliant. My 5 girlfriends before my wife, thoughtful, pragmatic, self-reliant. And in a workshop, if I really like you, you're usually thoughtful, pragmatic, self-reliant. The reason I get attracted to these strengths, I love a challenge. They're a big challenge. They don't come easy. You got to work the suckers. But when you get them, it's absolutely fantastic. Anyways, I think we're done. Give yourselves a clap. Really, job well done. I know a few people had thought that they'd love to get their spouse's page. We're more than pleased to give it out, and Kara's going to be there if anybody wants the spouses. What I will say is if you want the whole set, just send us an email. You should see our email address somewhere in the handouts, I'm hoping. And but if you do choose to share with your spouse, do not say I took a workshop and this is you. It doesn't work. Let them look at the 3 pairings, let them find themselves, then pull out the sheet saying, yeah, I know, this is you. Let them have their journey.